Hello? Who is this?
Don't worry about who this is. All you need to worry about is I heard you were reviewing Inside Line. You better do it right and do it well. And I better get a good review.
Um, okay. What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Buster back with another video. That was weird, I guess. Today we're here to review In Sound Mind. Yes, I'm back on the horror games, y'all. I still been playing the horror games. Go check me out on stream too. Right now it's Alien Isolation as I am making this video. Anyways, in this game, you play as I wouldn't call him the good doctor. He's more like a psychiatrist, I guess would be the word to use for it. You play as the good, I'm going to just still call him the good doctor, though he plays the good Dr. Desmond Wales. And in this story, you have this guy who's calling you on the phone, like I just got a call, oddly enough. It's about, him figuring out, you know, why his patients. So the dude who's calling them pretty much is like, you didn't treat your patients very well, but it was more to the story than just that. So you have to figure out pretty much why this dude's calling you and pretty much what he wants from you necessarily. So as you're watching right now, you find you find your patients, whatever, you find their tape, and you actually go into their memories and stuff like that. So the first person you go into is Miss Virginia, and as you see, she's in the store. It's a mart. I forgot what it was called, bro. Like, it's gonna kill me that I don't remember the mart's name necessarily. Homomart, there it is. Now I remember Homomart. So she pretty much worked there or whatever. That was her job or whatever. But she ended up having like an incident there where she pretty much better less of words, she crashed out. She crashed out, bro. And it got to a point where you find out that during her life, I don't remember her full story, but it was something like she did not look a certain way, and I guess she knew people was gonna laugh at her when she was younger. And she looked in a mirror, and her mom pretty much was just like, yeah, it's cool, like you gonna be fine. And like, she went to school, and like the kids like bullied her or something like that. I don't remember her full story necessarily, but she came home, told her mom like, yeah, I kind of got laughed at, cuz. And yeah, it got real crazy after that, cuz after that, she thought she was ugly, and she pretty much like broke a mirror and destroyed it and started bleeding, and she kind of like crashed out again. So like, pretty much as she got older, she could never stand to look at herself, which gives you the first item of the game, the mirror shard, which is honestly one of the most important things into this game. Like, all the other items, they are important too, but I feel like they really stuck it with the mirror shard. So the mirror shard, when you look through it, it lets you see what the eye can't see. So I thought this was absolutely a really great like trope for this game. And sorry for my girl Virginia, she should have been like my boy Laura Farquaad. Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the prettiest of them all? It sure as hell wasn't Virginia, apparently, y'all. So you pretty much had to help her get through her trauma and fight her demons, which the dude who's been calling you this whole time clearly has some leeway on helping these people not fight their demons. So you pretty much help her get past her trauma. And by the way, when I'm looking at the video of the mannequins, I ain't gonna lie, they kind of scared me like 3 to 4 times. So like, the horror, it's kind of there. It just, that should be making me jump, y'all. It made me jump a few times. I'm like, bro, I'm about to get attacked or something like that. So it was pretty crazy. So you pretty much help her out and make her understand that, you know what, maybe looking through a mirror wasn't so bad after all. So once you get out of her tape, you get harassed by the dude again, which is insane. I don't know how many times he calls you. Like, it's really bad. So you end up going to your next patient, which is my boy, Mr. Alan Shore. And Mr. Allen, once you get his tape, with the item you get with him is the flare gun. And his whole story was like, no one really believed him. He believed that he was seeing things that wasn't there because he worked at like some lighthouse or something like that, and he eventually ended up becoming scared of the dark. That was like his whole issue or whatever. So they had like spots in the game that was like darkness spots, and you couldn't go through them unless you shot a flare gun bullet through them, which I thought was a really cool take on it. My boy, Alan, he just couldn't handle the darkness. Let me stop y'all. Let me stop y'all. Anyways, so pretty much, while you're helping out Alan, you have this the lighthouse, which the lighthouse is red, which I thought was really cool. When the red light goes past you, if you weren't like covered in something like, ducking and cover, you would get hurt from it. But his whole story was to pretty much light his way. You took a new light, you took out that red light bulb or whatever, you stopped the darkness, and then you would light this young man's way because, boy, he needed it, which, it was really great. I enjoyed his story. Now, when you move on, you get out of his story, you actually find out that there's this cat there, and it turns out that it is Desmond's cat, but you don't know that at first. He kind of tells you, he's like, hey, my cat, like, why is she here? And, stuff like that. So you go on to the next tape, and the dude's calling you once again, because why the hell not? Like, he just calls and calls and calls and calls. He's like a bad ex-girlfriend, y'all. I'm not gonna lie. Like, it kind of gets really annoying. But it was great. It was great for the game. Don't get me wrong now. Like, it was pretty great. But when you get on and you move to the third tape, you move on to the next person, which is Mr. Max Nygaard. And this is who I actually thought the dude who was calling you was at first, because it told you Max had like a little bit of a history. So he used to work at this place, which I should have named in the beginning. He worked at this place called Mayer Pharmaceuticals, and he was just like a truck guy or whatever. But which, keep Mayer Pharmaceuticals in your head, because it'll become important in just a sec here. So like I said, he was just pretty much one of the truck guys. Now, he got fired from working there because when he was there, I forgot what necessarily happened, but he pretty much got mad and like drove a truck into the place. So like his story was about him controlling his anger. Now, I'm trying to remember what he gave you. Oh yeah. So his was about controlling his anger, like I said. Okay. So when you go through the little shipyard or train yard, whatever, I think that was like a train yard place, whatever they wanted to call it necessarily. So what you see now, you have to deal with the trope of, you have to, have electricity, and you have to stop the electricity. Of course, you're gonna get electrocuted and stuff like that. But you need these like V card chips, and you got like 3 of them, and they would power up certain spots or whatever. But some circuits needed certain chips because some chips were more powerful than the other. But yeah, what turns out about Mr. Nygaard here was, even though that he was angry, he had pretty much a lot going on from Mayer Pharmaceuticals. So, like, his story was, I feel like, a lot worse than everybody else's, because he kind of had like a, normal life story. Once he got fired, he was having like family drama going on. He actually had a wife who didn't want anything to do with him no more, so she had moved on. And then like they were in like a custody battle for their kid. So I'm just like, bro, really going through it. Now, I get like people not believing Alan for seeing things, and Virginia, not wanting to look in the mirror, but bro literally lost his family, lost his job, and probably was about to lose his house, because when I walked into it, you couldn't even enter his daughter's room. You had to actually play through his story, take his car, and literally ram it through the wall. So it's like, dude had a lot going on with him. And remember how I said Mayer Pharmaceuticals? Now, Mayer Pharmaceuticals was this scientific place where they were creating, drugs and all this stuff, which they create this thing called the rainbow pill. Now, this is what you get from Max's story, which the rainbow pill becomes Very important within the story because, Max is the bullhead that chases you within his story. So you pretty much have to, lure Max to where you need to get him to go to, the open parts to get to the next part of the game and stuff like that. With that being said, the rainbow pills also, if you throw them at like a rainbow puddle, it would destroy the spots. So let me backtrack real quick. They have like this drug and it's like a rainbowish in the game. And it's at the beginning of the game, stuff like that. But you don't know what it is. You don't know how to stop it. You don't know how to do any of that. We don't know why the drug is there. And you kind of get some of the reasons why the drug is there in Max's story. Like, you find out like who made it, which, you find out that the government makes, the rainbow drug, but it was more or less to control people, take over their minds. They pretty much was trying to, I feel, to me, it felt like they were trying to make like some agents, some sleeper agents, you give them the drug, they locked in, bro. And there was this scientist named Rosemary who, she helped make the drugs, but, the studies they thought would be a success, which it was, but it was far more of a success than they had actually realized. It had other properties, which would actually, once you got out of Max's story, you would beat him, you would beat the bull, and, the pills was kind of helpful. You could actually eat the pills in the game too. It would give you health back, which was crazy. It didn't have that, mind control, I guess, power like they wanted. But once you helped out Max and you defeated the bull, you move on to the fourth tape, or the fourth tape, which was Lucas's tape. And Lucas's tape, he was a dude who was from the military. Necessarily, his little thing, the item that he gives you is the walkie-talkie. Now, with this walkie-talkie, you could pretty much remote control things to open and stuff like that. So, this was what made his story really great. But Lucas, knew, somewhere along the line, since, he was in the war or whatever, he knew about the pills and what was going on behind the scenes. But remember when I talked about the girl Rosemary? She actually wasn't the villain. Once she realized that, after making the rainbow pill, that they were a lot more stronger than they actually were, she tried to stop it because the rainbow pill, like I said, had other properties. It would, it would bring out the worst in you pretty much. And, when she knew about it, the government pretty much got rid of her. They never really explained what happened after that. You just got rid of her. But in Lucas's story, like I said, his walkie-talkie had brainwave patterns. And, that would stop the little, monsters or beasts that was coming at you within the game, which was pretty much like super easy. Like, it was easy to get past them now. Like, you didn't have to worry about wasting so many freaking bullets, which was the big problem with the gun. I feel like I wasted a lot of ammo. After that, in his story too, Lucas was the robot. So you pretty much had to fight a robot with a walkie-talkie, which is an insane boss fight, don't lie. It was pretty nice too, which I very much enjoyed. And once you beat Lucas, you give Lucas a message to help him. Desmond gives Lucas the message to help him. And I never really figured out what this was until later on into the game. So when you get out, remember how I talked about your cat? Your cat could actually, I think like a tape or two before this, she could actually learning how to talk, and she was helping you. That cat turned out to be Desmond's cat. It turns out that you were also a patient of the rainbow drug. All these people that I have talked about was a patient of the rainbow drug. The only thing is, you didn't know you were a patient yourself, and your cat your cat dies, and you pretty much, write a letter to your cat and stuff like that, and you actually find out that you were like depressed as well. and all this other stuff. So you weren't so much of the good doctor as you thought you were. You thought, you were just helping your patients out when you were actually a patient yourself, which was like a crazy plot twist for me. So that was rather enjoyable. Now, the dude who's been calling you the whole time, you wouldn't figure out until pretty much, I think, a little bit like right after you got out of Lucas's tape. So it turns out that the dude who was actually doing this was Desmond Wells himself, which is crazy. It wasn't all the way Desmond, but it was like his rainbow agent. Now, when I say rainbow agent, you got to think back to the pills. The pills brought out the worst in people. So this was like Desmond's rainbow agent messing with his mind, telling him that he pretty much was sedated and that anything that he do to help his patients would mean absolutely nothing. Because I believe that this was all in your head, and they were doing this to a lot of people, to keep them sedated or whatever. Like I said, they might have been making agents. They might have been trying to keep them sedated, not bring them to their right mind anymore, which would be acceptable. So once you find out about all these things, you would then go into the final part of the game, which you had to fight your rainbow agent, which I believe that I guess the patients just either lost to or whatever. But at the end, your objective is to stop your rainbow agent. And you would use all the items that you have gained through the game and everything that you have seen to stop your rainbow agent, which I thought was really cool and was a really nice idea for this game. But towards the end, now I said the Lucas part, why it was so interesting. Towards the end, once you beat your rainbow agent, however, you remember how I told you that you asked Lucas for help? He would actually come and help you because I think the entire time you were actually sedated. And I think all of this was like in your brain because, like I told you before, you were also a patient as well. So at the end of the game, you hear Lucas scream at you and he opens this door. And I think you were just laying on the ground sedated. And all you hear is, "Hey, Desmond, I got your message. I'm here now." Which I thought was absolutely insane. They had actually this was crazy. It was crazy. I think it was like a plot twist within a plot twist as well. Because like they did their job when it comes to this game. So to me, the horror wasn't there as much as I think it should have been, but like there was some like jump scare moments. I think them jump scare moments was like enough because I really thought the mannequins were gonna attack me, but I think everything was portrayed out very well in this game. So if I have to give my, final verdict, I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10, bro. I think that this game was nice. It was awesome. And honestly, I kind of believe that this game was a hidden gem. I feel like that this game didn't get as much respect as it did. So with that being said, oh God, not again.
So you thought I wasn't gonna call again. Now I said I wanted a good review. What I meant was I wanted a perfect score. Now I don't know why you gave us a 9 out of 10, but I told you there would be repercussions. Now, what you don't know is that the person that's calling, I am your rainbow agent. I'm here to make sure that you have a terrible time.
Like, bro, you are not real. Like,
shut up. You think that I'm not real? You think that there won't be repercussions? Do you know what the rainbow pill actually was for that you didn't explain to the viewers? You see, Lucas, he didn't. I don't think he actually really took the rainbow pill. See, understand something. That pill was actually for war veterans. And that's what Lucas was. He was a war veteran. It was there to help them with their PTSD after the war. But you didn't explain that, did you? Since you think you're Mr. Know-It-All, you're gonna tell me what to do and how to act? Well, guess what? Now, this video is in my control. And you know what? You're being canceled. This review is over. Tell your reviewers goodbye. Actually, you're not gonna get to do that. This review is over. It's getting cut off.